It always starts quietly like a lamp slowly dimming at dusk. You don't notice the darkness until it's nearly full. Mrs. Evelyn, 72 years old, walked into my clinic with fatigue in her eyes and swelling in her ankles. She brushed it off at first. "It's probably just age," she said. But I saw subtle clues, the way she moved slower, drank less water out of habit, skipped breakfast some mornings and compensated We raw. It wasn't severate. But what struck me wasn't the numbers. It was the resignation in her voice. As if this was an inevitable toll for reaching T. Aging is not a sentence, it's a transformation. And when kidneys begin to falter, they don't shout. They whisper. They hint. They rely on us to Your kidneys to fist-sized organs filter about 50 gallons of blood a day. They quietly maintain your electrolyte balance, remove waste, and regulate blood pressure. But after age 60, especially when exposed to chronic inflammation and oxidative stress, their resilience begins to wane. We call this process inflammation low-grade, persistent inf, and yet so one of the most underappreciated culprits. D. Let's talk about processed meats, bacon. S. Then there's Ray. Trans fats how increasing. But I don't eat J. Let me share W. We simplified her. Wit. These aren't miracles. They're course corrections. But kidden. Your body, especially after 60, craves consistency. Sleep cycles. Dr. Andrew Weil, in his book Healthy Aging, and yes, there are foods worth eating in moderation. Take eggplant in a banana's a great source of P. So how do we know what's to? We learn. I often say to my patients, have you Eve? Could it be your body? Mr. Harland, age 70, came into my clinic complaining of forgetfulness and mood swings. But what struck me most wasn't his memory, it was how tired he looked. His shoulders drooped. His skin, once ruddy and alive, had turned pale and waxy. When I asked about sleep, he said Summit, I lie down every night, but That sentence captures a tragedy far too common in older adults. Because the truth is, as we age, we don't just sleep less or heal less. Early warning signs T. Let me explain. Sleep is not just rest, it is repair. During deep sleep, the brain clears out metabolic waste through the lymphatics RP. What we're witnessing here is not just fatigue. It's neuro being laid, night. But did you know? After the age of 65, over 30% of us expect chronic oxidative IREM. We ran a basic test. His cuff S. But here's TH. The blue light from screens suppresses mela. Sleep is where the nervous system on Y. And if. But there's hope. Neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself, doesn't it? In fact, study even at 7, the brain. Dr. Andrew Weil, in Healthy Aging, speaks beautifully that became W. It took 3 weeks. Then he told me, So start by. Do you wake up tired even after 8 hours in bed? Do you fall as? Do you feel These are not nuisances. These are signals. What we recover through sleep is not just energy. It's wholeness. So have you been truly resting or merely lying down? And if your body it wasn't until Mrs. Linda stopped being able to climb the stairs that she was 68, an active grandmother who took pride in making breakfast every morning, usually eggs, toast, and 3 slices of bacon. A simple meal, a habit of decades. And yet, over the last year, her joints had stiffened, her ankles were swollen by late afternoon, and her energy never quite But it wasn't arthritis. It wasn't aging. It was her kidneys quietly. The kidneys are often forgotten in conversations about aging. But these twin bean-shaped organs are master regular filtering blood, bowel whispers, and puffiness. I often, in Linda's case, a simple blood panel showed her creatine and erythema. We low. Her breakfast included processed meats like bacon, which are high in sodium, and salt is no friend to aging kidneys. Chronic overconsumption of sodium contributes to fluid retention, increased blood phosphates, and chemical preservatives that strain renal. But here's the paradox. Many older adults reduce water intake to avoid bathroom trips, further concentrating toxins in the kidneys and accelerating damage. That's inflammaging in action, a slow burn of, driven by dietary stressors. The good news, Rev. I suggested Linda start by replacing her bacon with warm steel-topped. One of my favorite quotes from Dr. Andrew Weil is this: food I.W. Every. There are 3 core. 1. Pea sausages, deli meats, bar compounds. 2. Refined SS blood glucose rapidly. 3. Tran found in margarine, baked S. But it's not about total deprivation. Even he'll take eggplant, for example, recoxala levels, contributing to kidney stone, a spinach a superfood, but high in purines, uric lev. T. I advised Linda to rotate her greens, use herbs like parsley and cilantro for detox support, and increase hydrate. Warm water with lemon in, and 3 mo. Aging gracefully is not about giving things up. It's about listening to your body's evolving needs, responding with care instead of food. So I ask you, when you open your fridge each morn, they say the body speaks in whispers before it screams. One such whisper often goes unnoticed, disrupted sleep patterns. Imagine an old grandfather clock's precise and rhythmic no ticking out of sync. In my 30-plus years as a geriatric doctor, I've come to recognize this as one of the earliest signs of internal imbalance. The body's circadian rhythm, once robust, begins to fray quietly. I remember Mrs. Callahan, a vibrant 73-year-old former schoolteacher. She came to me not for pain or fatigue, but simply because she couldn't stay asleep. I keep waking up at 2 a.m., she said, and then I just lie there not worried, just restless. She brushed it off, assuming it was part of aging. But what she didn't realize was that when sleep begins to fragment in older adults, it often indicates shifts in melatonin production, increased cortisol at night, or even undiagnosed chronic inflammation. This is a concept scientists now call INLO. Research from sleep medicine has shown that seniors who get less than 6 hours of sleep consistently are more likely to show early signs of cognitive decline, joint pain, and impaired glucose metabolism. There's also a bidirectional relationship. People with chronic inflammation tend to sleep poorly, and poor sleep further fuels inflammatory markers like interleukin-6 and TNF-alpha. It becomes a loop. I often draw from Dr. Andrew Weil's work when guiding patients. In one of the most surprising culprits is late-night sugar. Mrs. Callahan, for example, had a habit of eating sweet crackers before bed, thinking it helped her fall asleep. But these sugars spiked her insulin and led to a crash just hours later at around 2 a.m. Her liver kicked into gear, adrenaline surged slightly, and she woke without. After gently adjusting her evening routine, replacing the snack with a small chamomile tea and warm almond milk, reducing blue light exposure, and beginning a 10-minute breathing exercise, saw her sleep deepen within 2 weeks. I'm dreaming again, she said with tears in her eyes, and my knees don't ache when I get out of bed. This is the link so many overlook. Poor sleep doesn't just leave you groggy, it subtly inflames joints, impairs immune function, and accelerates degenerative changes in the brain. For those over 70, doesn't. There's also the impact on kidney function. something I see often in my practice. The kidneys, like all organs, rely on nocturnal blood pressure dipping and consistent hydration signals during sleep. When rest is cut short or erratic, it disrupts this natural filtration rhythm, subtly increasing waste buildup over time. This is one reason why chronic sleep deprivation in older adults correlates with higher uric acid levels and even early-stage N. Sleep isn't just a passive event, it's active medicine. And often, regaining sleep is less about medication and more about rhythm. Creating rituals, dimming the house lights, turning down inner chatter, letting the body recall its a. So I ask you, when was the last time you felt truly restored after sleep? Do you treat bedtime like an afterthought or as a sacred appointment with your own healing? There's a story I often tell my patients about a mirror left hanging in an old attic. Over the years, dust collects until it no longer reflects light. But the mirror isn't broken. It simply needs to be seen, cared for, cleaned. In many ways, our bodies in later life are just like that mirror. Aging does not mean we're beyond repair. It means W. Among the 7 early signs of health decline, one that often remains hidden until it takes its toll is emotional. Mr. Jennings was one such man. A former jazz musician, his home was once filled with rhythm and guests. When his wife passed, the music stopped literally and figuratively. I don't feel pain, he said. I just feel blank. His labs were unremarkable, his joints manageable, but his spirit had quietly pulled away from the world. This emotional fading isn't simply sadness. It is linked biologically to reduced dopamine activity, decreased heart rate variability, and heightened cortisol, of which speed up oxidative stress. And oxidative stress, as we've discussed, is a catalyst for everything from joint inflammation to cellular aging. In older adults, loneliness is now considered as detrimental to health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. That's N. Dr. Andrew Weil often reminds us that healing is not just physical, it is integrative. Healthy aging, he wrote, to age gracefully, we must come to T. Reigniting life isn't about grand gestures. Sometimes, it's about tending a garden again, reaching out to an old friend, joining a local choir even if your voice cracks, or simply sitting under the sun and feeling warmth without guilt or agenda. These small choices signal to the body, I still belong here. And when that happens, healing excel. I encouraged Mr. Jennings to start small. One afternoon, I left a harmonica on his porch. No note, just hope. Weeks later, a voicemail arrived. Doc, I played again today. Just a little. It felt like breathing. Within 3 months, his posture changed. His gait steadied, and the hollow tone in his voice gave way to subtle laughter. The music had no. The journey of aging is not a descent into irrelevance. It is a sacred invitation to turn inward, to renew purpose, and to rediscover our innate wisdom. But we must choose it actively. We must lift the mirror, wipe away the dust, and allow our light to shine again, not just for ourselves, but for those who walk beside us, silently seeking permission to do the same. So I ask you, have you mistaken silence for peace? Have you called resignation acceptance? Or is your soul quietly asking for renewal, waiting for you to answer with one small co? Because aging is not a sentence, it is a season, and like all seasons, it holds be. Let me leave you with this thought. Old age is not a punishment, it is a passage, a doorway not to decline, but to depth, a chance to meet yourself anew, without the noise of ambition, distraction, or haste. If these words have touched you, if you've seen your reflection in any part of this series, then I invite you share it. Speak of it. Connect. You are not alone on thee. Let us heal too.